Hey gang, Kris Krohn here, and today I want to talk about the rule of 72 and how the rule of 72 can make you wealthy. And at the end of this video, I'm actually going to share with you my secret number that I look for on determining with this rule whether I will or will not do a particular investment. Bottom line, so much success comes down to math. And the rule of 72 is nothing more than what? It's math. What the rule of 72 does is it gives you a shortcut to understand how long it will take for your investment to double. And so, for example, 72 is this magic figure that if you take 72 and divide it by whatever interest rate you're going to be earning, it'll actually end up telling you how long it'll take to double your money. So, for example, I'm just going to pull out my calculator here. Let me give you some examples. Let's say that I was doing an investment and I was getting a 10% return. Well, with my calculator, if I take 72 and I divide it by 10%, it says, you can do the math, it'll take 7.2 years and I'll get my money back. Now, I want to ask you, is 7.2 to double your money, is that a good idea? Because what it's doing is this is a rule for compound interest. It's not simple interest. Let's just say that I'm earning 4%. 72 divided by 4 is 18. It'll take 18 years for me to actually get that return. Is that good? Well, we live in a traditional financial world, friends, where like all the time it's like, well, my bank account gives me 1%. My annuity gives me 4%. This year my 401k did 11%. Well, what that really means is that it's going to take sometimes 10, 15, or 20 plus years before you actually make your money back, if it's compounding. So I want to share with you my magic rule that I use. The number I want you to write down is 15%. This is a minimum that I shoot for. If I take 72, the rule of 72, and I divide it by 15%, it's 4.8 years. This is less than 5 years. I look for investments that essentially have the ability to pay me back. Now, by the way, if you take a look at 4.8 years, it basically means you're doing over 20% a year on your money on average. But we plugged in 15%. Why is it closer to 20 when you do the math? That's what compound interest does, is every year it gives you an added benefit from the year before that it can keep rolling with. It picks up momentum. I like 5 years, and so my mind is programmed always around 15, 20, 25%. Now, that doesn't mean I don't touch investments that will do less, but frankly, not very often, and only when I'm trying to keep my money safe. Right now, you need to understand that the excess money you have, if you don't set aside a healthy portion of it to actually grow, you'll never get where you want to get. So the rule of 72 is my shortcut math for basically saying, when am I going to double my money? Now, 5 years to double your money, guess what happens if you try to double it again? It's going to get shorter, and double it again. It's going to get shorter, and double it again. It's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So over 20 or 30 years, you can make a lot of money, but only if you're earning really good interest rates. This is my attraction to real estate investment. When I invest in real estate, what I really like about it is that it is a very plausible place for me to get 10% on my money, 15%, 20%, sometimes 30%, sometimes more. And so when I personally do real estate for my own deals, what am I shooting for? I'm always shooting for 20%. That's basically doubling my money somewhere between late 3 to 4 year mark. And if I'm doing that, that's getting enough of a return that other investors want to give me their money and play with me, where we can do a lot more investing, and now we pick up momentum. Others jumping in, plus our money actually multiplying. So when you use the rule of 72, I recommend that you actually have a sweet spot figure that you're shooting for when it comes to your growth bucket. Of course, your security bucket can make a lot less, and you could also throw some Vegas money at some really high ROI, but a lot of that stuff never really pans out, which means that you need a balanced approach that can sustainably work with time. And earning 4% here and 1% there and 15% here and 20% there, all of that stuff in the long term ends up taking care of you. So those are my personal use. That's how I use the rule of 72 to actually work my system. Is I know it. I'm looking for ROI with 15% ROI or greater. And if I've got that, I'm doubling my money in less than 5 years. And that's aggressive enough to realistically get me where I want to go. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you like this video, then make sure that you subscribe right now so that we can share with you more videos as well as these other suggestions right here. And in addition, my friends, I also want to let you know that if you want to know what kind of investments can yield you 15% or more, you need to go check out the link in the description below. Check out my website. You'll actually find examples on kriskrohn.com, for example, as well of different investments that I'm doing, and the deals that are making 15, 20% plus potential ROI. See you there.